Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu, selamat datang pada webinar Inspirasi Bisnis Application, membangun data insentif application bersama Single Store. Nah, untuk hari ini, kita kedatangan 2 speaker dari Ibu Christine Natali selaku Enterprise Sales Director ASEAN, Korea dan Jepang dari Single Store, dan Bapak Ankur Raina selaku Solution Engineering Manager APAC Single Store. Oke, mungkin untuk webinar hari ini dapat kita mulai. Silakan saya oper ke Bapak Rahardian selaku Product Marketing di Mitra Integrasi Informatika. Silakan Pak.
Oke, selamat pagi semuanya Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih atas kehadirannya di webinar series kedua. Jadi webinar ini adalah lanjutan dari seri sebelumnya yang dimana sebelumnya itu membahas soal analitik dari database single store. Nah sekarang itu kita akan membahas single store sebagai transaksional database. Nah nanti kita juga ada lagi series ketiganya yaitu single store sebagai AI database di tanggal 14 Desember. Nah di sini kita ada 2 speaker ya. Yang pertama dari Bu Christine Natali dan juga Pak Angkur dari prinsipal ya Single Store. Terus Pak Angkur ini akan melakukan demo dan selanjutnya mungkin untuk mempersingkat waktu saya serahkan aja langsung ke Bu Christine. Baik Bu Christine.
Iya, terima kasih Dinar untuk waktunya dan terima kasih juga untuk bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu yang sudah hadir di pagi hari ini. Semangat pagi ya dan mungkin ada beberapa juga yang sudah pernah hadir di sesi pertama ini webinar Single Store bersama MII. Jadi memang kita ada 3 seri seperti yang Dinar bilang. Sebelumnya kita sudah melakukan webinar yang berjudul adalah Single Store untuk Real Time Analytics gitu. Jadi lebih ke analytical dan sekarang kita mau banyak conversation di daerah transaksi ya. Jadi Single Store yang bisa membantu mensupport transactional workload gitu. Dan nanti juga next-nya ada session lagi di Desember. Single Store bisa membantu terkait dengan generative AI. Jadi kita bisa mensupport juga customer-customer yang ke arah kedepannya mau mengadopsi Gen AI atau ChatGPT, OpenAI untuk membuat aplikasi modern gitu. Nah, untuk saat ini karena session kita adalah data intensive application, jadi kita mulai sekarang ya. Saya share screen saya. Udah kelihatan screen-nya? Kelihatan ya screen-nya ya, Dinar?
Sudah terlihat Bu.
Oke, siap. Ya, jadi judul hari ini kan adalah data intensive application ya. Nanti saya jelasin apa sih data intensive application itu di slide berikutnya. Nah, jadi hari ini ada saya, Christine Natali, saya adalah Enterprise Sales Director eee, Single Store based di Singapura bersama dengan saya ada Angkur dan Mike. Nah, kami bertiga ini semuanya based di Singapura ya. Jadi memang kita office APAC-nya itu headquarter-nya ada di Singapura. Dan Angkur adalah solution engineer kami untuk Asia Pasifik, dan Mike adalah ini ya, enterprise sales, solution engineer juga based di Singapura. Oke, jadi, apa itu data intensive application? Jadi kalau yang saya bilang tadi, single store itu kan memang karakteristiknya, dia bisa dilakukan untuk transaksi, untuk analitik, dan juga untuk, kontekstualisasi data yang which is nanti ke arah vectors ya, Gen AI. Tapi kalau misalnya kita lihat dari sisi transaksi dan analitik itu sendiri ya, ada kategori-kategori yang sebenarnya sangat penting untuk, aplikasi. Di mana misalnya kalau data size-nya itu udah gede banget ya, misalnya datanya itu udah kita ngomongin udah terabytes, udah petabytes of data, itu kita udah bisa bilang itu adalah data intensive application, gitu. Atau yang kedua, oke data size, mungkin nggak terlalu besar, tapi misalnya speed of ingestion-nya itu butuh kenceng banget, gitu. Jadi ini 5 ini bukan berarti harus 5-5-nya ada di data intensive application, bisa jadi kombinasi of 2 dari 5 atau 3 dari 5. Tapi kalau misalnya udah lebih dari 2 dari 5 ini, itu udah dibilang data intensif gitu. Jadi ada juga mungkin data size-nya nggak terlalu besar, tapi speed of ingestion-nya itu butuh kenceng banget ya. Jadi melakukan streaming data. Kita ngomongin jutaan gitu kan, ribuan sampai jutaan row upsurd per second. Nah, itu udah kita bilang juga data intensive application, gitu. Terus atau, ada lagi kriteria yang namanya latency requirement, di mana kita ngomongin, itu butuh sub-second atau millisecond response time, gitu. Jadi banyak aplikasi-aplikasi yang memang diharapkan latensinya kan secepat ini ya. Contohnya ya external application di mana customer kita yang menggunakan misalnya kayak e-commerce gitu kan, atau misalnya, travel travel application gitu kan, atau untuk, bookings dan lain-lain. Pasti kalau misalnya customer-nya, pakai dan misalnya ada latency beberapa detik gitu, mereka udah mulai jenuh dan akhirnya pindah ke, platform lain. Nah, itu latency requirement itu penting banget. Nah, kemudian yang keempat itu complexity of queries gitu. Jadi, ada juga kan requirement di mana datanya gede, misalnya miliaran rows, tapi harus run complex query. Nah, biasanya itu kan, banyak database-database yang didukung saat ini mungkin performance-nya itu, ini ya kurang oke ya. Jadi performance-nya itu bisa bermenit-menit atau mungkin bisa lebih dari, menit, malah bisa sampai berjam-jam untuk keluarin result-nya. Nah, itu juga karakter, data intensive application. Dan terakhir dari sisi concurrency, di mana ya mereka expect, kalau misalnya data, orang yang aksesnya itu udah di atas ribuan atau ratusan, itu kan berarti udah mulai butuh, ini ya, apa namanya, butuh database yang bisa men-support, performance dari si aplikasi. Nah, 5 kategori ini bisa dilihat lagi gitu kan di perusahaan bapak-bapak atau ibu-ibu gitu. Kira-kira, bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu punya nggak sih, aplikasi yang ada di 5 kategori ini gitu. Kalau misalnya ada, berarti Bapak bisa coba mengekspor single store gitu. Karena apa? Pasti mungkin saat ini ya kita nggak tahu apakah mungkin ada performance issue gitu karena concurrency gitu. Jadi kalau ada peak time, performance aplikasinya jadi ngedrop gitu kan, atau malah kadang-kadang jadi, ini kan, apa namanya, aplikasinya, benar-benar, stop gitu kan dan harus, di-reset lagi gitu. Atau ada performance issue karena misalnya, query performance gitu kan, yang tadi performance-nya lama gitu pada saat kita run query, atau latency requirement dan lain-lain. Nah ini, kalau misalnya memang ada, pain di situ, kita bisa coba ekspor single store ya. Kenapa? Karena single store ini kalau secara, ininya ya, arsitekturnya ya, kalau kita lihat, mereka itu, kita itu punya kapabilitas, ingestion performance yang sangat kenceng. Kenapa? Karena waktu kita bilang kita ingest data, kita itu ingest data kan dari kita punya fitur namanya pipeline. Nah, pipeline itu bisa diambil dari data source manapun yang bisa ditaruh misalnya di Kafka atau di any cloud buckets ya seperti S3 atau misalnya Google Cloud Buckets gitu atau di Hadoop File Systems, atau, di manapun lokasi yang kita bisa tarik gitu, yang formatnya Parquet, Avro, JSON, sama CSV gitu. Nah, itu kita bisa melakukan yang namanya super fast ingestion, karena kita menggunakan, in memory capability untuk ingest the data gitu ya. Nah, itu pada saat data itu masuk, nah itu bisa diturunin ke disk level ya. Jadi pada saat data itu turun ke disk level, jadi kita nggak harus semua data itu ditaruh di in memory. Jadi itu salah satu kecanggihannya dari single store juga. Jadi kita punya yang namanya universal storage, itu adalah, fitur yang kita punya, itu kita punya paten di situ, di mana in one single table type itu, bisa pilih mau naruh datanya di in memory atau di disk. Jadi mungkin ada beberapa data yang tetap stay di memori karena misalnya butuh fast performance ya, maksudnya super fast. Tapi yang sebagian gitu bisa ditaruh di, disk aja, tapi tetap performance-nya pun kenceng banget. Nah, ada lagi nih satu level lagi di mana kalau misalnya ada data yang, nggak terlalu sering dipakai, itu bisa di-push down lagi ke cloud object storage dan ini unlimited storage gitu. Jadi ini, luar biasanya dari single store ya. Jadi kita punya 3 tier arsitektur di mana kita nggak bilang kita itu only in memory database, tapi kita malah bisa naruh data di memory atau di disk atau di object storage, tergantung nanti kita bisa define apakah ini hot data, warm data atau cool data gitu. Itu bisa disebar secara otomatis oleh si single store itu sendiri. Seperti itu. Dan nanti pada saat datanya udah ada, nah nanti bisa melakukan query aggregation gitu kan. Datanya itu kan disebar ya. Jadi kita itu konsepnya distributed model, di mana ya nanti ada master, ada child, ada leaf nodes gitu kan. Nanti high availability pasti nggak masalah karena kita mendistribusikan data kita kan di semua leaf nodes itu dan kita bisa melakukan horizontal scalable. Seperti itu dan nanti bisa connect ke analytic tools yang Bapak punya langsung gitu. Jadi, yang kita lihat di sini ya, jadi dengan adanya single store itu nggak perlu lagi kita membangun data warehouse, karena kita itu langsung bisa melakukan transaction dan analytics di satu platform yang sama. Jadi nggak perlu lagi beli ETL kan, gitu ya. Jadi itu kapabilitasnya single store langsung bisa connect langsung dari transaksi masuk ke analytical tools, langsung bisa digunakan oleh user untuk melihat, insight ya atau reporting. Streaming ingestion, three-tier architecture, universal storage, multimodal. Apa itu artinya multimodal? Artinya ya kita kan adalah SQL, single store itu SQL database, tapi Bapak bisa menggunakan single store bisa untuk tadi kan JSON ya, kita bilang JSON atau time series, geospatial, full text search, itu pun bisa dimasukkan di single store gitu, key values dan malah nanti kalau misalnya udah mau ke arah Gen AI, kita punya vectors juga di mana bisa melakukan semantic search, image matching gitu kan, audio searching dan lain-lain itu bisa menggunakan single store. Itu keren bangetnya ya. Jadi one database itu powerful banget dan itu bisa di-deploy di on premise maupun di cloud. Jadi kita ada di AWS, ada di GCP, ada di Azure. Untuk data center Indonesia yang AWS sama GCP pun udah aktif. Jadi kalau misalnya mau tes single store langsung, bisa langsung misalnya punya kredit existing di ini ya AWS atau GCP bisa langsung menggunakan single store. Gitu. Nanti kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan bisa langsung taruh di chat nanti tim kami yang akan juga bisa bantu jawab ya bersama-sama. Oke, jadi, kalau kita go deep ya into pipeline ya, maksudnya apa nih? Jadi tadi yang seperti saya bilang tadi, waktu kita ingest, data ya, itu, performance single store itu udah sangat diakui sebagai, kita bilang world fastest database, database tercepat di dunia untuk, istilahnya database yang unified, dalam arti bisa transaksi dan analytics. Karena di pasaran gitu ya, di market kita ya, banyak banget kan database ya. Sekarang kalau kita lihat database itu udah 300-an database. Dan masing-masing database itu punya kapabilitasnya masing-masing kan. Dibilang, wah ini the fastest database untuk analitik gitu. Atau ada yang bilang database yang fastest untuk transaction. Nah, kalau kita bilang kita world fastest database untuk dua-duanya, transaksi dan analitik gitu. Artinya apa? Kalau misalnya kita bilang, oke, analytical database yang kenceng banget kan sekarang misalnya ada yang bilang Snowflake, ada yang bilang BigQuery, mungkin Redshift dan lain-lain kan. Di transaction ada yang bilang misalnya CockroachDB atau Yugabyte dan lain-lain gitu. Nah, single store itu ada di dua-duanya gitu kan. Nah, dan kita pun udah misalnya testing beberapa ini ya, beberapa use case gitu dan kita pun bisa dibilang bisa compete dengan malah lebih cepat daripada database-database yang tadi kita mention ya, seperti itu. Oke, dan kalau misalnya kita ngomongin pipeline, ini artinya kita bisa connect, yang tadi saya bilang, any format seperti JSON, Parquet, Avro, ataupun, CSV itu bisa di-ingest langsung ke single store, tanpa perlu ada ETL lagi atau ada CDC untuk mengambil datanya, yang penting nanti datanya ditaruh aja di Cloud Object Storage atau di Hadoop File System atau di Kafka, itu bisa langsung di-ingest ke single store. Dan kita sekarang udah juga ada yang namanya Mongo API. Jadi kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu itu adalah user-nya Mongo gitu kan, transaction wise kan mereka kenceng banget ya, bagus banget, tapi mungkin analytic performance-nya sangat, ini ya, tidak sesuai ekspektasi gitu. Nah, itu bisa datanya dimasukin ke single store tanpa ada perubahan code apapun, tapi nanti pas running, analytics di single store-nya itu bisa, jauh lebih cepat ya, bisa sampai 400 kali lebih cepat dibandingin running analytic on MongoDB. Itu pun kita udah ada fiturnya di situ, gitu. Kemudian masuk lagi ke misalnya MySQL atau MariaDB gitu, itu pun kita udah bisa langsung ingest masuk ke single store tanpa perlu melakukan adanya, migrasi lewat ETL atau dari CDC gitu. Nah, itu juga salah satu fitur yang kita udah punya ya. Jadi kalau Bapak Ibu udah memang existing-nya adalah MySQL atau MariaDB pun, nggak perlu ada effort yang tinggi ya untuk pindahin data ke single store. Tapi kita anyway adalah ANSI SQL, jadi kalau misalnya database yang existing pun in the SQL ecosystem ya, itu pun bisa dengan mudah pakai ETL apapun yang ada di market ya, pakai talent, informatika, dan lain-lain pun itu bisa. Atau misalnya kalau mau ada CDC pun bisa menggunakan CDC untuk misalnya real time ingestion, seperti itu. Dan itu datanya bisa langsung disebar di itu ya, di Lyft Nodes, dan kemudian bisa digunakan untuk aplikasi maupun analitik secara bersamaan. Nah, itu kapabilitas dari kita punya si pipeline itu, gitu. Dan, kalau kita masuk ke si universal storage ini, yang tadi saya bilang, kan kita punya, fitur ya, ini tuh kita udah dapat patennya, di mana single table type itu bisa untuk melakukan transaction dan analytical workload. Kalau kita lihat nih ya, banyak kan, database lain ya, walaupun dia bisa transaksi dan analitik, tetap workload-nya harus dipisah. Jadi tetap harus ada OLTP dulu, ada ETL, ada OLAP. Nah, disinilah kecanggihannya si single store, one database for all, seperti itu. Untuk detail benefit-nya, dan kan ini kan kelanjutannya lebih ke teknikal ya, kita akan ngomongin go deep into the technology. I will let our solution engineer leaders for APAC, Angkur Raina to be on the stage and then continue the conversation. Okay, Angkor, I will let you continue.
Thank you, Kristen. Am I audible now? Okay, awesome. And my screen is visible? Okay, great. So let me take from here. Now, Kristen spoke about the ability to ingest the data and how you can ingest huge volumes of data into single store. It can be through pipelines, but it can also be through drivers. That is, the applications directly connecting onto single store, the same way that you would do with any other OLTP database. Now, in case of single store, there are basically two storage engines. One is the universal storage engine, which constitutes of memory and column store that Kristen talked about. That is what you are seeing here. And then there is also a dedicated in-memory row store for workloads which need to fit in memory, which always need to fit in memory, right? So you still have the capability to use these two different storage mechanisms depending on the workload. But you also have access to this universal storage, which should suffice most of the workloads that you run on single store. And the kind of data types that you can store include the key value data types, document or JSON data. It may be geospatial data or time series data. And relational is like the core piece of a single store. It's a relational database. It's a SQL based database. So you don't have to learn a new language in order to interact with single store. It runs the same way as your traditional databases have been running. And what kind of workloads now would fit? So if you're deciding on some workload, say for row store versus the memory optimized column store or universal storage, then these are some pointers in terms of what that workload would look like. So if you decide on using the row store, the kind of workload that will be there will always be pinned in memory. It may range in tens of millions of rows. It may have streaming or batch inserts. You are expecting to select, update individual rows out of these tables. So the locking is on row levels. Whereas in case of the universal storage, that is optimized both for transactions as well as for analytics, most of the data is stored on SSDs, right? So the data is brought in memory as it is required by the application. So you're able to scan in the order of hundreds of millions of rows per second. And it is also suitable for both streaming as well as batch inserts. A good thing about universal storage in terms of storage footprint is that it heavily compresses your data. So as you bring your data onto single store, you will see somewhere around 80% compression on top of the data that you have inside single store. And then there is locking mechanism based on segments. Now let's switch the gears a bit and talk about the transaction programming in case of single store. So if you're using single store, every SQL statement that you run in single store, whether it is an insert, update, delete, select, it all runs in its own transaction by default. But you also have access to multi-statement transactions. What does that mean? Say, for example, you want to insert, update, and do some operations within one transaction block. All these statements should either run or fail together, right? So that's what a multi-statement transaction would look like. And you have access to doing multi-statement transactions same way as you were doing in your relational databases. So you would begin a transaction, you would do the operations, insert, update, delete, whatever you want to do, and then you will either commit or roll back on that transaction. And you have access to read committed isolation by default. We use multi-version concurrency control, MVCC, which is a common thing used in databases. And this allows us to, have readers and writers not block each other while you are doing your operations. So a copy of a page is maintained and the updates happen on that. In terms of resilience, so this is very important because now, as Kristen mentioned in the earlier part of the architecture, that we are a distributed SQL database. What that essentially means is that the data is not stored only on one server, and this separates us from the traditional relational databases where data was stored only on one server. For single store, the data is stored on a group of servers, right? And these can be small commodity servers. So it is very essential to maintain the resiliency across the set of servers, not just on one server. So how does that work? So in case of single store, all data points that you have, so we divide the data into partitions, and each partition within that data is copied into multiple places. So it is replicated into another place. So there will be a master partition, say on one node, and a slave partition on some other node. So in case one of the node fails, another node will be able to take the job automatically. So you don't experience the failure on your applications. It automatically switches to another leaf node for doing those operations. This is also true in case of row store. So in terms of row store as well, the data consistency is maintained on disk, right? So as I mentioned, in row store, almost all the data is stored in memory. All the data is accessible in memory, but we still snapshot the data periodically into disk, and we send the log statements onto disk. So that allows us to recover fast from the failures, even if you are using row store for storing your data. You also have access to distributed transactions. Since it's a distributed database, you may have data spread across multiple shards within the database. So you have two-phase commit-based atomicity for DML operations, as well as for DDL operations. And if you're running a mission critical application, you're most likely running it across multiple data centers. So you have a mandate to have DR capability. So single store provides you the capability to run your DR systems as well. So replicate database command allows you to replicate the database from primary data center into a DR, and these both are always in sync with each other, so that when you need to fail over from the primary data center into a DR, that is possible. We are also bringing in some new capabilities like shallow copy. This is coming in 8.5, which will be released in December-January timeframe. What that means is that you have a table. You can essentially duplicate your table instantaneously. So it does not require any time, whether it is 1 terabyte table or it is 10 terabyte table, it does not matter. It takes a copy of that table instantaneously, and you will be able to then make changes into that copy. How does this help? You are able to do things like table level restores, right? So if you have taken a copy of a table at, say, 10 at 11 a.m., at 12 p.m. Now you want to restore to a copy, or you want to copy the data as it was at 11 a.m. You can just copy the table. You can just copy from the shallow copy that you had created for that table. This is very important for both transactional applications as well as analytics applications, and allows you to restore things very quickly in the system. With 8.5, we are also bringing in support for change data capture. So as you can imagine, it's a distributed system. So getting the events out of a distributed system is much more complex than getting the events out of a single node system. We are happy to announce that the capability to get change events outside of the single store database is now possible with 8.5. So you will be able to build your streaming solutions outside of single store. So if the data gets ingested into single store, it gets processed, or some data events happen. Based on that event, you are able to then generate an event for the downstream applications. So this will also unlock new use cases for us. Eventually, we will be able to do pipelines between single store and single store, but immediately it will allow you to build applications that need to do event-based programming. So something gets inserted into single store database, you want to take an action in a downstream application. This CDC out feature will allow you to do that. We are also bringing in native replication from MySQL and MongoDB. MongoDB replication is already in GA. So if you have your database running in Mongo and you are experiencing performance issues, whether it is on analytics or it is on transactions, we will be able to help you there. So what you can essentially do is, without using any third-party tool, pipelines can automatically sync the data between Mongo and single store. Same is the case for MySQL. We have released it in public preview already. Now, an important piece of building the data intensive applications in today's world, as generative AI is picking up, vectors are picking up, right? Everybody is talking about AI today, right? So you need a way to have this inbuilt in your application. So single store allows you to do both full text searching as well as hybrid searching with vectors, right? So on the left-hand side on this screen, this portion, you are seeing a simple command where you are basically matching against the two vectors. This is something that any vector database can do, but where single store shines is on the right-hand side. We allow you to do joins between multiple tables alongside the vector embeddings. How is that helpful? For example, you are creating a generative AI application where you need to restrict the access to users. Say you are a bank and you want to give limited access to certain set of users. So you will have the user's profile and you will have the information within the profile in terms of what they are supposed to see, right? So you will be able to join that alongside the vector embeddings to feed the right context to your LLMs. And this is available both on-prem as well as in cloud. So you are not restricted onto cloud like some other technologies. In case of single store, you're able to do the exact same thing in your own data centers using your private LLMs, using your own machine learning models. On the right-hand side is what you see as the hybrid search. Just spend 10 seconds looking at the query that you are seeing here. This is properly visible to you. So now, in order to make the life of your developers, your data engineers easy on single store cloud, we have also brought in notebooks, and notebooks are already generally available. This allows you to write Python code as well as SQL based code. And I will quickly show you a Python, a Jupyter notebook on single store cloud, the single store notebooks. So here I have my cloud console. So you can go to portal.singlestore.com. You can sign up there, and once you sign up, you will get access to some free credits in order to try out single store. And there you will be able to create the workspace groups. So once you create the workspace, you have basically created the compute and the storage for your database. I'm not going there because we just want to talk about notebooks. So I'm quickly giving an insight on what is possible on Single Store Cloud. So here, as you scroll down, you will see notebooks on the console. So when you click on notebooks, you can click here, create a new notebook. You can see Python or SQL, or you can visit the gallery page here, where you will see a set of template notebooks that allows you to take a very quick look on Single Store notebooks and what you can do with Single Store. There are lots of template notebooks that you can utilize directly in order to test out Single Store. Now, here, what I am doing is I have a generative AI application where I am basically taking the data out of a PDF, which is in Bahasa language. So I have this PDF here from where I'm taking the data. So this PDF is a storybook in Bahasa. So I'm taking the data from this storybook, and then I am using OpenAI in order to create the embeddings for it. But you can do the same thing on your own local LLM, say something like Llama. If it is installed inside your VPC, you will be able to do the exact same thing. So I'm asking a query from it, and then we are getting the data out of this PDF, right? So this is a PDF in your native language. You're asking a query in your native language, and you are getting the result out of it. And then finally, we are summarizing on that result. We are feeding it back to LLMs, right? So this is something that you will be doing a lot with the generative AI applications within your own enterprise, and Single Store allows you to do that without taking your data out in the public internet. Let's now take a look at some of the use cases. So Single Store is present today in many enterprises as well as unicorns across the world. Top of mind comes General Electric, where we are solving more than 100 plus use cases. We are dealing with 4 million transactions every minute, and there are more than 40,000 concurrent users. So this satisfies all the characteristics of data intensive application that Kristen mentioned in the beginning of this session. Kellogg is doing. Kellogg was able to optimize their entire ETL pipeline, and they were able to increase the speed for their Tableau dashboards by several factors, a 20x improvement on their analytics performance. Why? Because they were able to reduce the time it takes for their source databases to send the entire data onto their analytics system. So Single Store being an HTAP database, we are able to take both transactional workloads as well as analytics workloads. They were able to see 80x faster Tableau dashboards. We have solved this exact same use case across multiple enterprises, even in Indonesia. Thorn is an NGO out there, and they fight the children's sexual abuse, and they utilize Single Store vector database capabilities, and they have been using it for many years now. They reduced their investigation time by 61%. More than 3,000 agencies across the world rely on Single Store's database there while working with Thorn in order to identify the child victims. So these were some of the use cases. Now I will let Mike from my team to discuss, to actually share the demo with you in terms of what can be accomplished with Single Store.
Thank you, Ankun. You able to hear me?
A second.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mike.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Ankun and Christine, for a very nice presentation. But let's get it into a real action. How does it look like when you, dealing with the data intensive environment, and how you will build up application and leverage on the Single Store functionality. So I'm going to present a demo is about the order management. Just let me know whether you're able to see my share screen. Are you able to see my?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So, okay, so I just a few minutes ago, I spin up a single stock workspace, the one that Ankun just shared with you guys a few minutes ago, and then I how to say injecting the data into the system. So on on the screen, what you see right now is could be about the dashboard built up on supersets of data about the order management, where it help you to monitor about the total of the order it has been made, what is the revenue so far, and of course that is about that is the revenue map for the how to say we made so far across different markets. And in here we would be able to how to say drill down or mean that go into that further with different filter, and you can see that everything is happen instantly, and of course that we can go to see about the how to say total order per week. And this one about analytics, how single store help you to resolve for analytics. And as you can see that for on of the query on the query here is the complex one, is come with the how to say different filtering, and of course that is go with the group by and aggregated function, and then order by, of course with the limits is complex, right? But as you can see that the performance query is pretty much it's very fast. It's almost instantly whenever you click you can see it. And this one is suitable for the case that people, if they're looking for analytics, they cannot wait. Mean that they don't like to wait. They have to see the result. And what you can see from what you can see from here, right? So the data pump up here is coming from the pipeline. As Christine and Ankuni shared earlier, pipeline is the way that for a way that for you to how to inject the data in very fast manner. As you can see here on the data here, we haven't done the how to say starting the pipeline and injecting the data just a few minutes ago, and then the pipeline is the way that is help you to fastly inject getting the data into the system, whether it could be with the flash file is on your cloud storage, or could be at your file system, and then the format is very Avro, JSON, Parquet, and CSV, of course. And the the way that create the pipeline pretty much you can see on the screen here is very simple, like how you create a table, just put create pipeline, load pipeline where it's coming from. And with this one, you create one time and it just keep continue loading the data. Whenever new data is you go and how to say inject into the system. But of course, we also do something more than that. Um, let me show you about this one, another pipeline. We generally with streaming data. So this one, the pipeline is a little bit more advanced but the way you create is pretty much simple. So you look in the data coming from Kafka, and um, instead of how to say um, you having two ways to do for this one. We can load the data direct into the table and do certain transformation along the way, or the other way mean that you would be able to load it into a store procedure where you embedded your business logic transformation to make it how to say go to the expected result. This is we can consider Pipeline is the mini ETL tool for your environment with high speed of ingestion and flexible flexible business transformation. And as you can see here, the this one while we are running the data, it just keep coming into the system. And let's coming back to here to see the dashboard for uh, for this package logistics. And as you can see here, while the data ingestion, one is the landing system, we would be able to analyze it and reasoning with the data immediately. Yeah. So what now we would look into a little bit closer. What is the underlying performance for each and every um, DML query that is the box for your transaction processing. I will switch a gear a little bit, come back to the notebook where I build up here. So I have built up here to give you a quick glimpse on the processing capability in single store. So when we're talking about transaction processing in single store capability, it means that it's about how you could be able to having fast lookup over your huge table, how you would be able to do the DML operation in very fast manner, even though that your table is pretty much huge, and maintain that there no index involved for those column or those how filtering condition. Okay, so I starting with my own cluster is only with 16 vCPU and 128 GB RAM. There is some memory already reserved, so the memory available here less than 128 GB RAM. And on of my table here in universal storage, with the storage type column store like as Ankuni mentioned. But let's see how about the performance when your data is stored in column store is on this everything. So I will getting the data from these two tables here. One is about the order, the other one about line item. For the line item, it's our 500 million of record, and the order is 150 million of record. And we had to talk a little bit about that one, about the index. Inside this table, we only define the shard key. Let's say for the biggest table, 500 million of record, we only divide the shard key and the short key and 1 unit in that. But however, we are doing something like, let's do a select on a non-index column in that table to see how it look like. Okay, let's run this one to get, maybe probably I will get the receipt date, which is the non-index column. I will get in the detail from, that going to the 500 million of record table, filtering with this non-index column to see how fast it returns. Pretty much impressive, is within 21 millisecond. Then we can do something. Let's say we try with another bit table on again on the another bit table on the with filtering condition, but with the non-index column. Let's see how much time it takes. So first time when it's running the query in single store, it will take time for it to compile the query. It means that to find the best execution plan, so add a blueprint for the next execution, and later it will execute it. So as you can see, that first time it run around that is 4 seconds, 4 seconds something. But let's do something. Let's pick up another date here. Okay, shipping date here. Let's choose the other date to see how much time is that. Of course, this one in non-caching. So as you can see, it's run at now. It run fetching the data. It's only took that 300 milliseconds. Pretty much impressive, right? We can do something like update on non-index column. So I just duplicate this table line item with the other table. Then I will, let's say I will pick up some certain record, of course, that on non-index column, and run it. And you can see that single transaction processing capability in single store is pretty much awesome. It's allow you to do the thing that update, doing the pick up those record very fast on non-index column. Let's say here of 67 million of record, allow you to do update pretty much in very quick manner. First time is run the, if you go with the kind of sorry, if you run with the compilation and do execution. Let's see how much time it takes. Yeah, and of course that we also can see the performance via our console, where we would be able to see from here. Let me bring up here in the internal as a. Then we go to our workspace here to validate this piece. Where my workspace? Yep, is here. Yep. So, and here we run is only in very small cluster with a H2 with existing vCPU. Yep. And of course that with all of this thing, we would be able to monitor from our console with the active query also, we can see that how is it, whether is it running so far. Okay, it's already completed. So as you can see that it's in 42 seconds because it takes time to how to compile the query. And you can see now when we select a batch, we don't have record. And got that we can do something about the other operation like DML. Let's say we getting for those record, return markup as return flat as, then we delete for those record pretty much impresses is me under how say 100 millisecond. Then we select it back, so it's return none. And one more thing that on the developer, when talking about transaction processing, it means that how about they would be able to handle the transaction exception? How would be able to put it into kind transaction control where you can begin, where you can when you can commit. If you hit in the exception, you could be able to roll back. So now one thing is that I will create two table. One table which you are having the primary key here. The other table will log the error, and then we will insert the first two record 0 and 1 here. Then let's starting with the two running this one create meta. So in single store allow you to create the procedure, putting your transaction processing logic. Like you can start in the transaction, you can do your operation, you can put the exception, and of course that you can put the exception. For example, in this case, I will demo for duplicate on entry. It means duplicate for this primary key. Then we will roll back, and of course that we can start in another transaction to lock down the error code. So let's compile this procedure. Then now we will call this procedure, and remember we already insert inside this table with the value in 1. Now we are trying to insert with another the 1, so it should write in the error on the duplicate key, and then it log into this table T error. Yeah, you can see that now it's logging into this table with whatever ID duplicate and whatever the value inserted. So this one is one way is how you to handling for your transaction processing for your logic you require. And then the last P, I want to show you, that when you're talking about transaction processing, it's about the concurrency processing, how the system would be able to single store would be able to help you to cope with that one when you having a lot of transaction coming, and whether it would be fair or not. So let's starting with this thing. We will using the J method here. We will running let me scroll down. We have an 800 of the thread is including insert, including update, and including delete. We run for the 6 seconds, and then of course that lastly that we connect to the single store cluster. And of course that how about the detail is it look like in terms of the transaction. In the transaction we have in different query where we do the insert into different table, customer, part table, and then part supply, and then part value with different random of value. And of course that we also doing for the update again with on the same table, customer, part, and part supply, and supplier. And then of course that we also doing some of the other thing. You mean that for the delete as well on a similar manner. Let's run this P. Yeah, we run this one. So here you can see that on of the detail is starting to populate it. But in order for you to easy visualize how much the transaction is can processing, here you can see that 800 concurrent thread is running to do that. So let's go into a Grafana dashboard where we would be able to see about the transaction performance, how much the request we can handle in it, and how it look like, whether any request is failing or not. So here we just looking for maybe fast 30 minutes. So as you can see here, we starting to do it just now, and then it's already be able to serving around 700,000 record, and it's keep come in, and then probably that we can also refresh dashboard, and then we can see that single store, I mean, that allow you to do the transaction process and processing is in very, very good manner with high performance. And the beautiful thing about this one, with our single store capability and everything here, you can see that on the average of the query frequency is under second performance. It's 100 or 200 millisecond, and its consistency, how they put the stress on the system with 800 concurrent user and no error code, so no transaction failure, and then you can see the transaction just keep going on. So in-source single store with its own capability of allow you to do the ingestion very fast with the custom mini ETL tool with store procedure, and also allow you to getting the data fast, reasoning with the data, operating the data in very high speed, and then it's sustained over the when you put the thread into single store with concurrent operation. I would like to conclude my demo. Yeah, Christine, Ankun.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike, for your time for the demo. Mungkin sekarang kalau misalnya itu kita lebih interaktif aja ya. Kalau misalnya dari rekan-rekan ada pertanyaan, bisa langsung ditanyakan aja di meeting chat. Jadi nanti bisa dijawab langsung oleh Mike atau Angkur atau saya sendiri.
Ada yang ingin bertanya kah?
Ada pertanyaan?
Bagaimana rekan-rekan yang ditanyakan dari materi yang sudah disampaikan?
Oke, kalau mungkin sambil menunggu pertanyaan ya, mungkin saya jelaskan lagi sedikit ya. Jadi single store ini kan memang kita bisa digunakan untuk ini ya, di on premise ataupun di cloud. Jadi kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu mau mencoba single store, itu bisa masuk ke single store. Coba saya mungkin bisa sharing screen saya sekarang.
Bu Christine,
Iya.
ini Bapak Ibunya bisa langsung tanya via ini aja, via voice. Untuk voice udah
Iya, boleh.
diaktifkan. Jika ada yang ditanyakan boleh langsung tanyakan aja.
Iya. Ya, silakan ya kalau ada yang mau ditanyakan langsung. Sambil menunggu saya mungkin bisa jelaskan, tadi Angkur ada bilang, bisa coba masuk ke portal single store untuk sign up $600, free credit untuk tes single store ya, dan notebooks. Nah, itu bisa masuk ke portal yang Pak Angkur share. Jadi ada di sini ya, bisa sign in untuk create email, password, kemudian nanti bisa coba single store langsung. Gitu. Jadi memang kalau di single store itu kan bisa untuk cloud dan bisa juga untuk ini ya, self manage ya. Jadi bisa pilih nanti juga.
Bu Christine mau tanya?
Iya boleh Pak, silakan.
Kalau cloud-nya di luar yang 3 yang sudah ada itu apakah memungkinkan? Misalnya let's say di local cloud kan banyak nih sekarang ya, lagi menjamur. Itu
Betul
apakah
banget
sudah
Pak.
support? Sudah support atau belum ya?
Iya, jadi memang sekarang kan ada macam-macam ya, ada eranya cloud, ada beberapa juga yang di lokal, kemudian ada juga kayak Huawei, Alibaba, Ali Cloud dan lain-lain ya. Nah kalau itu, kalau kita masuk di pricing ini, dia itu masuknya di self manage tetap Pak. Jadi kita nggak bilangnya on-prem gitu, tapi ini self manage berarti either on-prem ataupun private cloud atau misalnya pakai cloud provider lain yang di luar 3, nanti Bapak tapi tetap jatuhnya install di VM-nya mereka gitu ya Pak ya? Gitu.
Iya,
Jadi,
betul.
betul itu bisa Pak, bisa. Jatuhnya di self manage gitu. Jadi, bedanya ya kalau di, self manage itu kan memang kita nanti Bapak harus bikin klaster, yang minimum itu, ini ya 4 unit ya, di mana satu misalnya ada master, ada child, terus masing-masing ada live nodes, masing-masing live node itu per live nodes-nya kita rekomen 8 vCPU atau 32 gigabyte RAM. Itu, 1 unit makanya dibilangnya. Jadi kalau, rekomen 4 live nodes itu kan untuk high availability ya, karena kita distribution model, jadi, 32 vCPU sama 128 gigabyte RAM, kayak gitu. Jadi itu yang direkomen di, minimum cluster di self manage, either mau di local cloud provider apapun gitu. Kalau di cloud itu kita bisa start, dari yang, sekecil kalau yang di AWS GCP Azure itu bisa sekecil ini Pak, dari mulai S00 itu dari mulai 2 vCPU 16 gigabyte RAM. Jadi kayak compute-nya itu bisa dari mulai kecil banget itu udah bisa starting, gitu. Cuman bedanya kalau di, self manage, starting-nya lumayan agak gede ya, langsung di 32 di sini, gitu. Sebenarnya bisa kalau memang datanya kecil banget bisa di 16 aja, jadi 2 live nodes, tapi itu harus approval, kayak apa namanya, itu di luar, minimum requirement, jadi biasanya itu harus, nanti saya request gitu ke internal apakah bisa nggak gitu start dengan 2 units gitu, seperti itu sih. Nah itu, bedanya di situ ya Pak. Jadi ini bisa lewat, apa namanya, dari yang starting kecil dulu kalau di AWS atau GCP, dan itu yang di Jakartanya juga udah aktif kan, jadi bisa langsung, gitu. Nah, mungkin sekalian saya kasih tahu, jadi kalau di single store itu kita kan, compression capability-nya juga itu luar biasa ya. Jadi kalau misalnya data size yang ada di database lain, itu kan pada saat masuk ya mungkin, nggak dikompres gimana ya, atau mungkin ada tools lain yang bisa harus mengkompres. Nah, kalau di single store itu kita udah bisa mengkompres data itu 70-90%. Jadi data yang masuk itu bisa jadi jauh lebih kecil gitu kan. Makanya kalau misalnya kita bilang, "Oh, saya pakai ini nih database-nya saya butuh 32 vCPU." Nah, belum tentu pada saat menggunakan single store itu harus, hardware requirement yang sama, karena kan dikompres jadi bisa lebih kecil, hardware requirement-nya, gitu. Jadi, itu juga bisa save, TCO-nya ya, bisa save TCO, kayak gitu. Dan kita run query on top of compressed data, jadi bisa juga performance-nya tetap kencang banget, jadi nggak perlu di-uncompress dulu baru dikompres lagi, kayak gitu. Gimana Pak, ada pertanyaan lagi dari pertanyaan tadi?
Cukup jelas.
Cukup
Cuma tadi
jelas
balik lagi
ya?
ya, kalau tadi distributed database ya, berarti kita perlu lebih dari 1 VM atau sebenarnya bisa 1 VM aja cukup?
Okay, I will let, Angkor or Mike answer ya. For, single store if we are distributed, does it mean that only 1 VM enough or need to have multiple VM, Mike?
Oh, okay. So I would take in this question, and Ankun can provide suggestion after that. Yeah. So basically that for single store distributed, right? We are doing the share nothing. So it's always good that to having each node in single store cluster in one VM. And of course that you can having that from maybe from one bare metal server, you can do the hypervisor to put it in, divide into a small different VM under one physical server. That also doable, and it's a good best practice also in this situation. Yeah, Ankun can share some thought.
Yeah, I agree. So, being a distributed system, the expectation is that your data will be distributed across a set of VMs or physical machines or containers, whatever you're using. But it will most likely not be in a single VM, because if it is in a single VM, that VM fails, then there isn't high availability there, right? So that's the expectation from distributed systems, that they will be spread across multiple small commodity servers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also
jadi
I
direct.
just adding in also about the resource contention also. They will, if only in one VM, they will fighting for the system resource, which is not good. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Jelas nggak, Pak?
Cukup jelas. Bisa
Oke,
dimengerti.
thank you, Pak Hendra. Ada pertanyaan lagi dari Pak Hendra atau dari rekan-rekan lainnya?
Bu Christine boleh nanya Bu ya?
Boleh.
Bu, mengenai tadi saya melihat bahwa data source yang bisa terhubung dengan single store itu ada MySQL dan MongoDB Bu ya. Nah pertanyaan itu bisa nggak untuk SQL Server juga bisa terhubung nggak Bu ya? Itu pertama Bu.
Oke.
Yang kedua, untuk on-premise itu kita disediakan untuk versi trialnya nggak Ibu ya? Nah, gitu aja sih Bu.
Oke, interesting. Jadi pertanyaan-pertanyaan ya, pertama ya Pak ya, terkait untuk MySQL sama MariaDB itu we already have the API ya. Jadi bisa langsung narik datanya masuk ke single store. Untuk MongoDB juga yes punya gitu. Tapi kalau misalnya SQL Server, kita memang belum ada direct ya, direct masuk ke single store. So we need either ETL untuk menjembatani masuk ke single store atau misalnya itu kita tampung datanya di mana gitu kan, mau di Kafka atau mau di cloud system atau di folder yang nanti bisa ditarik masuk ke single store, yang penting formatnya Parquet Afro atau CSV atau JSON gitu ya. Itu format yang 4 yang bisa langsung dimasukin ke single store. Gitu. Maybe Mike, you can add more from SQL Server to single store. What is the recommended way to ingest the data?
Okay, so probably that from migration from one database to the other database, we would let's say in this case from Microsoft SQL Server to single store, we would need a tool in the middle, ETL tool, to keep it in this case to keep it straightforward. Or if you would be the ETL tool could be Talent, Pentaho, Arctic, or any of ETL tool that you already having using so far, with having the connector at the SQL Server as a source and single store at the destination. That would be the best way. And of course, that in case that you're looking for the known downtime migration, let's say for the final migration, a CDC tool would help in this case. And but in case that you would be, if you would be able to do in the phase by phase, so and the data volume is not big, then probably that could be, we can thinking of something about attracting data out in those format that single store pipeline can injecting and put into single store automatically by pipeline. That is without the investment. Yeah, there are quite few options for you.
Ya, jadi bisa diekstrak datanya, kalau nggak banyak ya ekstrak, terus nanti di load sama pipeline kita, atau pakai ETL atau CDC aja gitu yang memang udah dimiliki. Kan ada juga banyak yang open source ya, bisa dipakai untuk connect ke single store, karena kita ANSI SQL jadi bisa pakai connector apapun gitu, sangat open ekosistemnya single store.
Oke, Bu.
Itu yang
Sebenarnya
pertama.
sorry Bu, saya potong.
Boleh.
Kalau di Kafka itu untuk yang format protobuf belum support ya Bu ya, berarti Bu ya?
Format apa?
Protobuf. Protobuf.
Mike, you know, buff. Mike,
yeah. For the protobuf is in our roadmap. Yeah.
Oh, ada di roadmap Pak, ke depannya ya.
Oke.
Ya, jadi memang single store itu teknologi ekosistemnya open. Jadi ada ETL integration ini bisa dipakai. Ya, analitik ML-nya juga lumayan banyak ya. Ini pun maksudnya yang kita taruh ya, ada yang di luar ini pun sebenarnya mesti bisa, karena kan kita ANSI SQL, jadi kalau bisa connect ke MySQL, bisa juga connect ke single store pakai ODBC, jadi DC connector gitu kan, itu bisa juga. Streaming juga bisa pakai Redpanda, Kafka, Confluent, dan lain-lain. Developer tool-nya juga open, language-nya juga gitu kan untuk aplikasinya. Jadi memang ini ya, open gitu. Itu dari saya. Kemudian kalau dari sisi yang tadi kan yang cloud ya, kalau misalnya memang nggak open dengan cloud, itu bisa juga ada trialnya, itu kita bilang pakai POC mechanism ya. Jadi Bapak testing aja, Misalnya nanti kita bantu instalasi di environment Bapak, nanti kita bikin misalnya mau testingnya apa, ingestion speed sama misalnya run query, nanti kita bilang akses kriterianya apa, nanti kita bisa bilang ya ini small POC lah gitu, itu kita bisa lakuin sih, gitu. Terus kalau di single store itu sebenarnya kita juga ada free license ya, free version untuk on-prem gitu. Itu untuk 4 unit tapi nggak ada support-nya. Jadi bisa masuk ke yang self manage tadi. Sorry. I share my screen now. Jadi kalau self manage get started free ya di sini ya, bisa try single store standard. Ini untuk yang on-prem, free version included all core feature, 4 unit no limit times, 128 GB RAM sama 32 core. Ini tapi untuk forum support ya, jadi nggak dapat support langsung dari single store. Gitu. Jadi nanti kalau udah testing dan suka bisa upgrade juga nanti langsung ke enterprise, nanti bisa langsung update ke tim MII gitu untuk upgrade enterprise kalau memang udah suka gitu dengan single store-nya gitu. Ada atau POC sih the best way ya Pak. Jadi kita bantuin dari sisi setup-nya, instalasi, kemudian kita bisa bantu juga untuk kerjain bareng-bareng gitu. Oke, ada pertanyaan lagi Pak?
Cukup Bu, thank you Bu.
Cukup ya. Oke, ini ada yang angkat tangan, Pak Wibisono, Pak silakan.
Iya, siang Bu. Saya mau tanya
Siang,
untuk
Pak.
yang 4 unit ini maksudnya apa ya? 4 unit ini 4 database atau 4 node kah atau 4 prosesor atau gimana ya?
4 unit itu jadi kita ngitungnya per unit itu 8 vCPU ya. 32 GB RAM, 8 cores, 8 cores ya. Jadi di masing-masing leaf nodes itu kita minimum segitu, jadi per unit itu yang 1 leaf nodes gitu. Jadi ini dapat 4 leaf nodes Pak license-nya. Kalau master sama child kita nggak charge license, jadi Bapak bisa install aja tanpa perlu bayar any license. Cuma di leaf nodes-nya aja yang kita charge gitu. Jadi 4 unit gratis ini untuk 4 leaf nodes yang masing-masingnya 8 vCPU, 32 GB RAM gitu.
4 nodes ini berarti maksudnya 4 prosesor kah atau gimana?
4 leaf nodes. Ankur, can you explain on leaf nodes in this? Or is it like processor or how in the distributed model?
Yeah. So leaf nodes are just compute nodes which store the data set, store a portion of the data set. So if you think about a distributed system, it is divided into smaller smaller nodes. There are aggregators which take the query and get the results back to the driver. There are leaf nodes which have the actual data stored within them and have the compute capacity to help with processing there. So thanks Mike for sharing this diagram. So these are the leaf nodes and at the top is the aggregator.
Jadi ada agregatornya, ada leaf nodes-nya Pak di bawah. Jadi di masing leaf nodes itu kita bikin vCPU gitu kan ya, 8 vCPU masing-masing gitu.
Kalau di apa? Kalau di prosesor itu kan ada yang namanya ini maksudnya ini vCPU.
Iya,
Saya
mungkin
masih
Mas Arief bisa bantu jelasin,
ya.
Mas Arief. Mas Arief mungkin bisa bantu jelasin atau ada Arya nggak bantu ngejelasin dari ini ya secara lebih ke bahasa kita. Mas Arief ada nggak di situ? Atau nggak ada ya Mas Arief ya?
Tapi itu
iya,
32 core tadi ya Bu ya? Ya anggap aja satu CPU 32 core gitu ya?
Iya betul, tapi itu biasa kita pecah lagi Pak, dibikin 4 leaf nodes-nya gitu ya. Gitu.
Tapi kalau misalkan katakanlah saya punya satu CPU yang 32 core bisa kan? Masuk toh ya?
Okay, Mike, if they have one processor with 32 vCPU, it means can be used, is it? In here?
Myself. So
Yeah.
what is the question, Christine?
Yeah, so in for example, Pak Wibi have one processor that has 32 vCPU.
One
Does
server,
it
right?
mean, yeah, one server.
Okay, one server had in 32 vCPU. So it's on way good, right? To divide into the different VM for the server. I will answer this one earlier, whether we deploy into one server with a huge that computing power, or we should divide into different VM so that we deploy different node. Yeah, for that.
Oke,
And
jadi
No,
dipecah-pecah VM-nya ya?
Yeah,
saya
go
nggak pakai
ahead.
VM. Nggak pakai
If
VM.
not using VM, then
So
not
if,
recommended ya, Mike.
yeah, if you are not using VM, that is there are two things for this one. Firstly, the license is calculated based on the total of the hardware on that lead node. So right now it should be 32, right? And one more thing, that if you only have one server, so you would not be able to find out the other, let's say, lead node, right? To attend the distributed architecture, right?
Iya,
So
soalnya memang single store itu arsitekturnya kita rekomen jadi ada master aggregator, child aggregator, terus nanti ada leaf nodes, Pak. Leaf nodes itu masing-masing yang tadi 8 vCPU or 32 GB masing-masing leaf nodes. Jadi walaupun di satu server itu harus dibikin VM-VM-nya untuk dipecah, karena itu nanti kan dia mendistribusikan datanya ke situ. Gitu. Jadi kalau misalnya nggak dipecah, itu jadi konsep distribution-nya nggak ada gitu. Jadi itu memang nggak direkomend sih, gitu.
Oh,
Jadi
jadi harus
dipakein VM.
under VM ya?
Iya, harus under VM sih, betul. Jadi kalau misalnya technical requirement ya.
Soalnya kalau saya di sini untuk DB server, I don't use VM.
DB server dan use VM ya. Oke. Iya, mungkin untuk ini jadi kayak Hadoop ya, Pak, similar like Hadoop ecosystem sih sebenarnya single store untuk arsitekturnya.
So just to add on a little bit here, so single store deployment, you would be able to deploy it on either bare metal or on the VM on Kubernetes, right? So but the key point that, let's say you're using bare metal here, so I believe that you should be able to have enough that the server to allocate, let's say that one for the creator, and maybe that another two for the lead node, let's say, to start it with. Yeah. So two here is could be with the VM or could be with the bare metal. It depends on whatever you are comfortable and you are having right now.
Iya. Jadi ini Pak, di sini dibilang kan komponennya ada CPU-nya. Jadi minimum 4 cores, 8 vCPU masing-masing. Kemudian memorinya gitu kan 32 GB RAM di setiap leaf nodes, ya kan. Kemudian storage-nya kita rekomen SSD storage. Kemudian kita rekomen platformnya OS-nya pakai Red Hat Linux atau Debian. Gitu. Itu sih standarnya.
Oke.
Jadi,
Makasih, Bu.
Iya, sama-sama. Ini ya untuk 4 unit sebenarnya itu udah gede banget loh, Pak. Jadi kalau memang bukan mission critical, kalau memang mau nyobain single store di situ, itu data size-nya itu kalau transaction mungkin 1 tera, 2 tera pun itu mestinya udah good enough ya dengan 4 units kayak gitu. Jadi istilahnya bukan yang, "Oh ini kecil banget," gitu, "ini gede banget, Pak." Jadi bisa dipakai untuk multiple database juga sebenarnya untuk sebagai testing ya. Jadi banyak customer Indo kita, kan kita di Indo tuh udah, untuk Asia Pasifik tuh udah 2 tahun ya sekarang, tapi secara company itu kita udah 13 tahun ya, Pak. Dulu namanya memSQL, terkenal dengan in-memory database. Nah, jadi udah banyak customer-nya Single Store itu di Indonesia sebelum saya join juga gitu. Dan mereka itu, ada juga, yang pakai free tier license ini. Jadi mereka pakai untuk misalnya, apa namanya, untuk dia punya internal gitu kan, terus nanti mereka suka pakainya, terus mereka upgrade ke enterprise. Jadi banyak customer yang datang mendadak, salah satunya Telkom ya, bilang, "Oh, mau beli license." Kenapa? Oh ternyata udah pakai yang free tier. Jadi mungkin bisa, explore dari awal dari free tier dulu aja kalau memang ini ya, apa namanya, mau mencoba ya, tapi lebih ke internal, ini only gitu kan, ya kalau soalnya kan nggak ada support ya di situ, gitu. Gitu, ada pertanyaan lagi? Itu ya, technical, ininya, requirement-nya saya udah share. Ada pertanyaan lagi dari rekan-rekan? Sebelum kita tutup ya.
Apakah ada pertanyaan lagi?
Kalau nggak ada mungkin mau, ini ya, mau foto bareng ya? Apa namanya,
Ya,
dinner?
jika tidak ada, kita ada sesi foto bareng nanti dan ada pengisian link feedback form. Jadi untuk rekan-rekan dimohon untuk mengisi link feedback form dulu. Nanti di situ, ya nanti di sana kita akan coba follow up. Jika ingin nanti dari rekan-rekan ingin mengetahui dari segi pricing untuk si Single Store ini. Jadi di situ kita akan buatkan sesi one on one. Nah di situ kita akan mengetahui dari segi pricingnya dan juga komparasi apple to apple dengan DB lain. Mohon diisi link feedback formnya dulu ya. Iya, dengan pengisian link feedback form ini nanti akan kita berikan sertif juga pada rekan-rekan yang mengisi feedback form. Nanti akan didistribusi by email oleh tim marketing kami. Bu Susanti, kita kasih waktu dulu sebentar ya untuk rekan-rekan dapat mengisi feedback formnya.
Ya Kak, mungkin untuk pengisian feedback form bisa kita tunggu selama 2 menit ya Kak ya.
Oke.
Bu Christine apa masih boleh bertanya?
Boleh, silahkan Pak.
Oh boleh.
Musiknya
Kalau
coba.
Finance Corporation ada yang pakai ini nggak?
Finance Corporation ya di Indonesia gitu ya. Kalau secara global kan juga banyak ya Pak. Jadi memang kayak contohnya Bank of America, Royal Bank of Canada gitu kan, dan beberapa financial institution di dunia gitu kan pakai single store. Salah satunya di Singapura juga DBS gitu pakai single store gitu. Kalau di Bank of America itu use case fraud analytics ya. Jadi kayak credit cards swipe, 1 kali swipe itu within 50 millisecond, bukan detik ya, 50 millisecond, mereka bisa detect itu fraud atau real, jadi secepat itu gitu. Nah, terus ada juga kalau di BS itu, use case-nya lebih ke Tableau, boost performance Tableau gitu kan, untuk mempercepat analytics ya, real time analytics. Di Indonesia kita udah juga beberapa, yang bisa saya mention itu ada Binem, Permodalan Nasional Madani ya, baru sih lagi implementasi sekarang. Kemudian ada beberapa lagi fintech seperti, kayak Bus Indonesia ya, itu bagian dari Axiata Group gitu, dan ada beberapa yang memang saya nggak bisa mention karena privacy purpose gitu.
Oh, berarti sebagian besar itu yang finance dipakainya buat analitik?
lebih kalau misalnya kayak, core gitu kan, banyak yang pakainya embed ya. Jadi kayak misalnya aplikasinya itu udah embed sama database-nya. Jadi memang kita nggak mungkin bisa replace gitu. Tapi ada juga use case misalnya kalau misal aplikasinya itu dibangun, sendiri gitu, nah itu ada. Jadi kayak mungkin di Goldman Sachs gitu kan itu customer kita juga dia, pakai single store itu untuk beberapa aplikasi mereka kayak wealth management gitu kan atau portfolio management dan lain-lain gitu, tapi kebanyakan yang dibangun sendiri gitu, kayak gitu sih. Lebih banyak, juga, SaaS company, fintech gitu banyak banget ya yang pakai. Karena kan kalau fintech kan lebih cenderung punya aplikasi dan di mana aplikasinya itu kita nggak ngomong ini lebih ke analitik atau lebih ke transaksi. Jadi lebih ke satu aplikasi ini bisa transaksi terus bisa langsung run analitik di aplikasi yang sama. Itu benar-benar powerful-nya SQL Store ya, gitu. Trans Analytic gitu sih.
Bu Christine nambah lagi tanya.
Boleh.
Mungkin Pak Ardi mau melanjutkan
Sudah,
dulu?
Pak. Silakan.
Oh, sudah. Siap. Ya. Tadi kan bilang di atas VM ya. Untuk VM-nya sendiri itu hypervisor-nya sebenarnya ada ketentuan nggak ya? Atau harus VMware kah?
Any specific VM or any VM can do, Mike, for installation? Any
So,
specific?
not really specific on the VM, but rather than the system requirement is on about firstly about the OS, yeah, and then about the CPU and about memory. Just now you having flashing on the system requirement, yeah. So those are the thing requirement. Probably just let me open that one to give you a glimpse of that how it look like. 1 minute, let me do sharing. Just let me know whether you're able to see my share screen. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, we just let's say for the OS, we require that say Red Hat or ARM Alliance 7 and then Debian and also CentOS is support but not recommended because that is end of the line. And I've got that for the other information. Let's say for the CPU, let me get the CPU here. Just now, Christine have mentioned that minimum is 8 vCPU and then minimum 8 GB RAM. And of course, this one for testing, for production, you could scale accordingly. Yeah. And for that the storage, we recommend it the SSD because SSD for fast write and fast retrieval. That is good for our our universal storage workload actually. Yeah. I will paste in this detail inside the chat so that everyone can refer it in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Ya, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bu Christine.
Iya, thank you. Pak Budi udah dijawab ya di chat juga. Nah, itu pertanyaan tentang rumah sakit. Ada lagi pertanyaan sebelum foto bersama? Kalau nggak ada mungkin kita udah bisa foto bersama ya. Mungkin Dinar bisa lead ini.
Oke.
Atau Susanti.
Sebelum foto bersama, saya minta kembali untuk mengisi report-nya. Rekan-rekan, Susanti bisa oke nih.
Iya.
Ya, untuk rekan mohon open cam untuk saya di foto bersama di file ini.
Oke, mungkin untuk bapak-bapak kita melakukan sesi foto bersama. Untuk sesi foto ini aku hitung sampai 3 untuk fotonya ya. Oke, kita mulai dari sekarang ya. 1, 2, 3. Oke, boleh sekali lagi Bapak Ibu.
Pakai gaya.
Bebas.
1, 2, 3. Oke. Oke, sudah. Untuk sesi foto bersama sudah selesai. Untuk acara ini mungkin bisa saya kembalikan ke Bapak Rahardian, silahkan Bapak.
Oke, ada tambahan kan dari Bu Christine?
Ya, udah, all good.
Dari Pak Arief? Oke. Terima kasih rekan-rekan sudah meluangkan waktunya untuk hadir di acara webinar series kedua ini. Dan jangan lupa kita juga punya webinar series ketiganya di bulan Desember yang nanti akan kita bahas itu soal topik dari Single Store sebagai database AI. Jadi di situ kita akan bahas mengenai AI yang digunakan di teknologinya Single Store. Nah, mungkin saya sudahi untuk acara webinar ini. Terima kasih untuk semuanya. Mohon maaf apabila ada kekurangan. Ya, selamat siang semua.
Selamat siang semua. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Thank you.
Sampai ketemu
Bye.
lagi.
Ya,
Sampai ketemu lagi di webinar 3.